If you've spent even 5 minutes shopping for an e-bike lately, you already know how wild the market has become. New models pop up every single day, and half the battle is just figuring out what's actually worth your time. One bike that caught my eye recently is the Adventure Explorer Q7 from a brand called Asomtom, and yeah, that name probably doesn't ring a bell for most people. I hadn't heard of Asomtom either, but after digging around a bit, this thing started to look surprisingly compelling, especially when you factor in the price. The Adventure Explorer Q7 is a fat tire e-bike from a company that's been around since 2022, which might not sound like long, but considering how many startups disappear almost instantly, they must be doing something right. So let's take a closer look at what this roughly $1,200 beast is all about. Being a fat tire e-bike already tells you a lot. Back in the day, fat tires mainly meant better traction on sand, snow, or loose dirt. But modern designs have pushed these bikes into full-on utility territory. The Q7 fits right into that trend. It's rated for a massive 400-pound payload, and when you realize the bike itself weighs about 73 pounds, that still leaves a lot of room for cargo, groceries, or gear. For most riders, that's easily over 100 pounds of extra carrying capacity, which explains why Asomtom includes a rear cargo rack right out of the box. All of that load capacity has to come from somewhere, and in this case, it's almost certainly an aluminum frame. At this price point, nobody's expecting carbon fiber, but aluminum makes sense here. The frame is chunky and confidence-inspiring, even if it does look a bit familiar. If you've seen or ridden something like the Himiway Zebra, you might get some déjà vu, especially around the bottom bracket area. It's not a clone, but the similarities are definitely there. Once you get into the electronics, things get even more interesting. Power comes from a Bafang motor, which is honestly a good sign if you're shopping in the affordable e-bike space. Bafang has a reputation for making motors that are tough, reliable, and reasonably priced, and that's why so many budget-friendly bikes rely on them. On the Q7, the motor is rated at 750 watts, with a peak output of around 1,200 watts, which is more than enough for city riding, hills, and hauling extra weight without breaking a sweat. As for speed, Asomtom lists a top end somewhere between 28 and 29 miles per hour, depending on where you look. But either way, that puts this squarely in Class 3 territory. You get pedal assist, a throttle, or a mix of both, so you can either put in some effort or just cruise along and let the bike do the work. Just remember that throttle-heavy riding will chew through your battery faster. Speaking of batteries, the Q7 uses a 720 watt-hour unit tucked into the down tube. On paper, Asomtom claims a range of around 50 to 60 miles, which is pretty impressive for a bike this big and heavy. Of course, those numbers are always measured in ideal conditions. In the real world, range will drop depending on how fast you ride, how much you rely on the throttle, and how much weight you're carrying. Still, customer feedback has been largely positive, with many owners praising both the range and the bike's ability to haul serious cargo without feeling strained. Ride comfort is another area where the Q7 tries to punch above its price. It's a hardtail, so there's no rear suspension, but the fat tires do a lot of the work when it comes to smoothing things out. Up front, you get a suspension fork with around 120 millimeters of travel, and it appears to offer some basic adjustability for damping and rebound. There's also extra cushioning built into the seat area, which helps take the edge off rough pavement and trails. The rest of the setup is very much what you'd expect at this price point. There's a budget-friendly Shimano drivetrain, likely with 7 or 8 gears, hydraulic disc brakes to rein in all that weight and power, and a digital display on the handlebars that gives you the basics like speed, battery level, and assist mode. It's not flashy, but it gets the job done. When you step back and look at the whole package, it's hard to be too critical. This is an e-bike that delivers a lot of power, a lot of carrying capacity, and a decent level of comfort for around $1,200, at least while the current sale lasts. Normally, the Q7 is listed closer to $1,700, so there's a chance that price could jump back up once the promotion ends. Based on the specs and the customer reviews, though, the Adventure Explorer Q7 looks like a solid option for anyone who wants a tough, do-it-all e-bike without completely emptying their wallet.